Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. Today we're going to make an envelope template from scratch. I had originally back engineered an envelope. I carefully took it apart and made this template. As you can see, a proper card template. It's going to be roughly square. The smaller one that I made is also roughly square. Let's see these panels. 2.5. 3. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to copy that one and trace it. We're going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to take my ruler. This is a piece of white construction paper. I'm going to come up the edge a little, from the corner a little bit, so I have plenty of room. So I'm going to come out from the corner. I'm going to give myself about 4 inches just so I have enough space. And I'm going to try to get my ruler sort of evenly from the corner. And I'm going to give, how big are these ones? Measure the ones that I've been making. So I want this to be a copy of that. So these are 5 inches by 4 3/4, I believe. Wait, yeah. Like 5 by 3 3/4. Okay. So I'm going to give myself a midpoint right about here. And I'm going to go out 2.5 inches and out this way 2.5 inches. I get just sort of a line there for the base. Actually, let me darken that. I'm going to give myself a baseline. And I want it to be 3 3/4 inches tall. And I've got, because the ruler is already, the marks are 90 degrees to the edge of the ruler, that lets me cheat a little bit. So I'm going to try to get off the crack of the table. I'm going to bring this out 3 3/4 inches. I'm going to give myself a line in the middle as well. And 3/4. And if you're doing metric, you can make your envelopes in metric as well. 3 3/4. So if I was doing this in metric, I would give it, let's just average. So we'll get about 13 centimeters by about 9.5 centimeters. I'm going to give myself a top line here where I've drawn my 3 points and connect them. Should do this with pencil and not pen like I'm doing it. I love a mechanical pencil for anything lines and charting. So I'm just going to check my side mark to make sure it's going to be about right. Actually, let me get a line in the middle here. Let me get my line from the center, matching up the 90-degree angle with the marks on the tool, and I come out 2.5 here, 2.5, just to make sure that lines up right. 2.5. So I'm going to get this angle here with this line. So now I've got it matched up here. Get it matched up here. Okay. So the idea is that this rectangle is going to be inside of another box that's going to be roughly square. I want to have a triangular panel coming off of each part of the rectangle. I'll put a little triangle from here. So I want a triangle up here, I want a triangle over here, I want one down here, and I want one here. And the idea is that when I bring the triangles in, they're going to overlap like a real envelope would. In order to do that, the top pieces have to be slightly longer than the sides. Let me get this. I had to back engineer my template because it randomly vanished on me the other day. Last night, couldn't find it. I think the fairies stole it. I'm like, where the fuck is my template? So I popped open one of the stiffer envelopes and just traced that so I could keep going, because I did not feel like engineering it again from the beginning. So I have roughly a square, and you can see how my corners will come in and these will overlap. So this side here is 2.5 inches tall, and this one on the side is about 2 1/4. I'm going to take my center line here. I'm going to run it out past the rectangle. I'm going to give myself another 2.5 inches up on the top and connect the line. I'm going to give myself 2.5 inches off the bottom and give myself another little mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the middle. I'm going to break up this 3.75, so I'm going to get 1.5 and another 1/4 and another 1/8, my middle mark, and get 1.5 and 1/4 and another 1/8. There's my middle. Or I could just say 1 7/8 instead of counting it out every time. There we go. So I've got my midline, and I am going to extend it out. Here's my long midline. And I'm going to extend this guy out as well. Okay, so I have my 2.5 inches here, I have my 2.5 inches here, and on these corners I'm going to bring it to 2 1/4. Now, ideally, I should be able to get a square. I'm going to run a square from the corner, from this corner up here through this corner out to this line, and that would technically give me the line, the point where how long I want the side panels to be, which would be a little bit smarter. So I'm going to run this through this corner to the other line. And we're just going to go that way. I'm going 2.5 out to the corner. 2.5. Okay. Out to the corner. So I have it roughly in a square again, and I have, where's that? Is that so weird on that side? It's slightly off. Let me bring it down a little bit here. Oh, I see what the problem is. I didn't go through the corner, I went through the cross mark. Here we go. Okay, now I've got my corner. So I've got my 4 corners that make up a basic square shape, even though on the inside I have a rectangle. When these corners are folded in across this line, I will get my envelope shape. I'm going to either glue or tape the 3 panels down here, and then this one flips over it, and I don't recommend gluing it once you have stuff in there because the glue might stick to it, so I recommend taping the top no matter what you're doing. Now, in order to have this come out with this regular envelope shape, I want the corner of one of the panels to be cut off. So I'm just going to come down here about a 1/2 inch or so and just clip that other corner. We have about 3/4 maybe. Slash it across there. So this is my new edge right here. And what I want to do is I want the panel to come up a little bit, so I'm going to make just this little butt shape situation and bring it in like that up to the corner. So I'm just going to bring it up a little bit, this sort of fancy curve, and I'm going to bring it out to that part. Because that will give me a little bit of overlap and also define my corners when I'm tracing the template. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, a little curve. I'm going to bring it down to the point. My toe hurts because I'm standing on it. And another little butt heart shape there. There. Okay. So now I've got my template drawn out. Might look like a hot mess, but let's cut it out and then you will see the magic. I'm using the paper scissors. I recommend, if you're drawing this out on a thin sheet of paper, to trace it onto the inside of a box of crackers to get that paper board or cereal, or if you have mat board or a piece of cardboard from the back of your notebook, go ahead and use that. Anything just give you a little bit of stiffness. If you have cardstock, go ahead and use that, because that is what mine is made out of. It's cardstock that I was trying to print cards on, but I ran out of ink, so I'm just using the back of it. It's all crusty because I was using it as a glue mat to keep some of the glue off my table. Alright, so now you can see the totality of the template. It's very nice, pulled in shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it along here, and that's going to give me my envelope shape when I bring it in. Since this is the template, I don't want to bend it. So what I'm going to do is I've chosen a piece of paper to use. This is a coloring book page that I've colored in. It's not from my coloring book, so if I ever color in coloring books from other people's drawings in such a thing here, not mine, go by mine, I use these as wrapping paper. So now they are fodder for my scissors. Part of this do I like the best? Let me get this guy over here. So I'm going to take my template on the back of the page and I'm going to trace the template. It's a little harder because it's on thinner paper, but we're going to make it work. Yes. I think this template's actually nicer than the one that I made and retraced, but it still works fine. Oh yes, I didn't cut off the corner, so I gotta cut off the corner here. I forgot that before as well. Okay, so let me get that on here. Corner. There we go. Alright, so I have traced my template and now I'm going to cut it out on my envelope material of choice. If I were going to mail this, I would want the white side on the outside and I would write the address on it. If I'm not going to mail it, I don't have to worry about the envelope being busy, so I've traced it on the white side, because normally you don't want the lines to show. You could just cut through them entirely. See how I'm cutting down to that point? It's going to give me a place to fold the panels where I don't have to write fold on the actual materials. It's just a very visual way to line it up. Okay, so here's going to be the outside of my envelope. So I like to fold the side panels in first. I'm going to lift this up to where the corners are. Sometimes it takes a minute to get them so that it's not pulling up the other part. I'm going to get it lined right up to that little point, and now I'm going to press it from the middle towards the outside just to keep it from rolling up. I've got one panel pushed in. I'm going to get my other panel. Again, see how it pulls it over? I really want to line it up to the corner so that it's as even as it can be. And if it was a thicker paper, I would use something like my burnishing tool. This stuff, really thick, a lot harder to fold, thicker than construction paper. So I would just take that and give myself a nice seam, pushing from the middle towards the outside. You can see it's just folded over that corner ever so slightly, and it'll be all right. But I try to get it a little bit, just a little bit better. And then I like to fold up the bottom, just trying to line up where it hits the corner. Just sort of pre-fold it on the corner so when I roll it over it's not totally jacked. And then get that. Come on, buddy, help me out here. Yes, okay. So not as good as the other one. Okay. There we go. Let's fold it in. Why is this not as... Oh, because I cut it down a little bit too far. So don't cut it down quite as far. Just cut it a little bit up at the top. And I get the top the same way. This one's not cut off quite as much, so you want a little bit, just a little bit off the top, not like a whole big chunk. I'll just fold that. Okay. So I have my basic envelope shape here. And like I said, I cut a little bit too much off of here, but it's still going to hold together. So just fix that real quick. There we go. A little bit better. So, don't cut the tip off quite as much. We did it on purpose just to show you the error of the ways. So it's going to be up a little bit more if you don't cut the tip off so much. And then we'll have that nice envelope action going. Prettiness on the outside. Okay, so what you can do is you can glue these down. I like to get a glue strip going, and I will press them down out towards the corner. I want to make sure they're not all the way stuck to, I don't have glue down in there, making it stick to the back. And if it doesn't stick all the way, I let it dry for a couple minutes, and I'll come back in and get some more glue on the corner to hold it. If you want to do it, if you have a piece that's a lot thicker, or you don't want to wait for the glue to dry, you can take some tape and just tape it down on the corners. So, tape, cut the edge off. I like to use this shiny Scotch tape. Any old tape will do. Just as, like, if you're going to mail it, you definitely want it to be, you know, a stiffer tape. There we go. Okay. So I didn't wait for that to dry, but I have taped it. So now I have an envelope. That should work mostly. I have some that have been drying here for a couple hours already. So this one is dark. I cannot mail this. So I'm going to fill it with my little packet of stuff. And if I had stickers, I would use a sticker as, like, you know, how they used to seal it with wax. I would just strap a sticker across the corner here. I think I have one. There's my stickers. There we go. I just trap it down with a little sticker. And I'm going to just tape it across. If I'm going to mail it, I put the tape all the way down here. So I'm going to just go ahead and fill the envelope. And once it's filled, I tape it along the edges. And that's it. My thing's ending.